Alright guys, so I've got this all lined up. Now I'm going to go ahead and do some work here on putting this head in place of the monkey's head. So in order to isolate Mr. O's head, I'm going to just use a plane cut. It's going to cut along a plane. As I rotate this around, if I go all the way, it would keep the shiny part. So if I wanted to keep his shoulders, I would keep it like that. I could cut off his head like that, but I want to have just his head left. So I'm going to rotate this plane by left-clicking on that, and then I'm going to come over to the right. Let's see, kind of get an angle, and I'm going to try to use the angle that lines up with the chimpanzee's, that line right there on the chimpanzee. I'm going to go ahead and accept that. So I've got this head as I want it. I could have just left a little bit more of his neck on there, but I wanted to get rid of the collars. I can feather that in later. Now, I can't use the plane cut on the chimpanzee. Oops, let me cancel. I want to work on the chimpanzee now, so I'm going to click on that. Notice it goes shiny. And the reason being is, if I try to do a plane cut on that, leaving his body, so I'll kind of reverse that around, but if I try to do that, understand that it's going to also cut through that tray. I can't limit the plane down and only go so far. So to get rid of the monkey's head, I'm going to select and use the delete button a bit. So I'm going to come up here and hit select. I can do this with a brush or a lasso. I'm going to use a brush here, and essentially I'm going to go around and carefully paint out. I'll clean up the edges here in a bit, but I'm going to carefully clean that out. This will only kind of get half of the head. I'm going to go ahead now. I'm just hitting delete on the keyboard to get rid of that. I'll come around to this other side and kind of work through. You have a clear selection button. Then you go back to select, and I'm going to go in there and paint that up. And you can size this. I'm going to go ahead and hit delete. I can change the size of the brush that I'm painting with to do this, and this is just painstaking. You just got to be a little bit tedious. So, go ahead and come down and carefully clean that up. Now, see how that slid over there, so I'm going to clear that selection and come at it at a slightly different angle. And hit clear selection. It's touchy. So just take your time, and Control Z is your best friend. Control Z will just undo the last step. So I just go in small batches and look at it, and if I do anything that I don't like, I'm just going to tap delete and nibble it off there. If you right click, it'll spin it for you. I'm going to go ahead and get this. Hit delete and just keep on working around. I want to make sure I don't leave anything hanging in space. I'm going to work this underside of this chin here. Get that. I might go a little smaller brush here in a second. Hit delete. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little piece right there. Oh, that's on Mr. O's head. I'll clean that up here in a little bit. We don't want to have anything hanging out there. That'll mess up prints. I'm going to zoom out and come through. Clear selection. Select. And this is, again, suck it up. It's fun. Get that. Tap delete. And I'm getting close. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video. You don't need to watch me spend 10 minutes working through this. And I'll pick back up here in a second when I clean this all the way up. Alright guys, so now I'm back. I've cleaned up the best I can. in a couple minutes. Everything that I got. So now I'm going to go ahead and move these into position. I want to go, let's see, edit. Actually, I think I'm going to move the body to the head. So I'm going to click on the body, edit, transform, and then for the most part, I'm going to align it. Oh, I don't like that. I'm going to cancel that, and I'll move the head to that. See if that has my more intentional plane. It's alright. So I'm going to have to fix this. So I'm going to go to World Frame. Okay, so local frame has me, this is how it was originally brought in. I'm going to Control Z that move. And then I go to local frame here, edit, transform in local frame. Notice that that doesn't line up with the nav cube. So I'm going to change to world frame, which now does that. So now I can move the body. That makes a bit more sense. So if I come over here, change that to world frame, now I'm just kind of sliding in. Let's see. Tell me what needs to happen. I'm going to move it down a bit. I want that silk cravat to show. Alright, I'm going to move it forward a tiny bit, and I'm going to start looking around. Come to this back. Let's go to the front. And I'm just going to take my time toggling. Let's see. It goes there to there to there. I want to go in between there and there. I'm looking at this as the number that's changing. They're calling this the z-axis. I'm going to change that to -3,1 and hit enter and see if that was too far. 3, no, 3, 2. Ooh, I think that hit it. I think that lines that up pretty darn well. Looking, I really want to make this fit well. Alright. Now, hit accept. I'm going to go back to this head, edit, transform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to oversize his head a tiny bit. I'm going to make it a little larger. Ooh, it's starting to look good. It's starting to fit in there nicely. Maintain that cravat. It's a fancy necktie. Silk cravat. I'm going to hit accept. And I'm going to spend a little time looking at this. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to smooth it out. I'm going to combine it here when I really get it liking it, and then I will, go in there if I want to give them some horns and whatnot with the tools. Under sculpt I can, but for now I'll stop at this video, and then I'm going to show you how I really try to smooth this transition, and ideally we make it enter the uncanny valley. I'll smooth that little bump out back there and do a couple different things. So I'll pick back up here in another video.